Okay, what you're looking at here is one of our grade level curriculum documents. This is second grade. Each grade level will be very similar in setup. The first 2 pages of every document will start with an overview of the entire year for that grade level's math curriculum. At the top of each document will be a series of links that will help teachers make decisions about the math content they deliver throughout the year, as well as provide resources and corporation pacing plans. Each unit will have be listed on the left-hand side. It'll be hyperlinked to drive you down to that particular place within the curriculum document, as these range between 15 and 25 pages. That'll help move you around the documents with ease. Each unit has a generic title to give you an idea of what you'll be working on and an approximate length of time that you should spend covering the material. Be careful with the days. Sure, you want to be able to take a few extra days if you need it, but we have these paced out to about 165 days instruction. That gives you a few days around the holidays to play with your parties, your downtimes through I-step testing, setting up your procedures in the beginning of the school year. So we did try to build in some of those days that were outside of our instructional days. So when we say 20 days, you want to keep it as close as possible, because if you go over 4, 5, 6 days, you're going to have to rob Peter to pay Paul later, and it's going to affect the depth that you can go to in other units. So you could note things that the kids struggle in and then pull those back in as spiral reviews when you see other connections in later units, as opposed to staying in one spot for an excessively long period of time, because we have done quite a bit of math to get these units to about the length recommended from the DOE. You have quarter that the unit should begin and end in, and each unit has a big idea. The big idea is something that I encourage you to use at the beginning of the unit, kind of set up your conversation, check to see what the kids already know and are able to do, and get a feel for what kind of interventions or strategies you're going to need to help them understand everything within the unit. The essential questions should help you drive conversations about the math that you're doing. You know, sometimes in math we get hung up on the computation only, and we forget to check to see what the kids understand through journaling, through conversations, through pair shares. And so these conversations can be led through your essential questions to see if they truly do understand and can reiterate the concepts that you're relaying in class to them. And that will be, and you have a series of essential questions built in for each unit, and then standards. The standards in bold are the focal point of your unit. And obviously the non-bolded standards are standards that you will hit pieces of, or maybe in their entirety, but maybe they aren't. They're additional, so they're not the emphasis in your grade level, but they are a piece of the puzzle. And we tried to blend our math standards in our units as much as possible. We didn't want to make it distracting to what we're doing, but we also wanted to find connections and make connections so that we could make meaning of the math. We didn't want to be teaching addition in isolation from perimeter when those two concepts complement each other, or multiplication and area. Those types of connections we were trying to make in our units, in how we blended our standards. So you can see that this particular grade level, that flows through. So this is the very first piece of the curriculum puzzle, and that was the blending piece. It looks pretty simplistic, what you're seeing here, but we agonized over this, and each team that worked on this document spent hours and hours trying to make these puzzle pieces and these standards go together in a reasonable and manageable and sequential order, so that we could help you make sense of the math and then lend itself to a better focused instruction. So again, the units will hyperlink and drive you down to, actually this one is broken, I'm seeing, I'll have to fix that later, and it'll drive you down to the unit where again you'll see the heading, the approximate days, and there'll be additional information which I'll cover in a later video. I'm going to, at the bottom of each unit, I can drive myself back to the top to see my focus. Okay, and one thing I'm fairly proud of is the vertical piece of this is consistent from grades K through 8. So let me open up a 7th grade just to show you. They're going to have a few fewer links than you have because of the way the report card works, but you can see that we're working on the same line of thought here with the units, with the title, with the approximation of days, the quarter, when you begin and end, big ideas, essential questions, and standards. In the upper grade levels, sometimes we have a standard that is isolated in a unit simply because once the students hit around 4th or 5th grade, this particular standard, 7C6, encompasses about 6 different things. It's almost a complete blend on its own. And so we did take some of that into consideration in different grade levels. Grade levels K through 12 are asked to use their critical standards to do a focused review and to spiral and not to use canned programs. In grades 7 through 8, the focus will be the bringing back and spiraling the critical standards in daily do now activities. The 7th and 8th grade has a slightly shorter math block, so they will do fewer activities and they'll do that through their do now process. In grades K through 6 with slightly longer class periods, you guys will be using your daily math reviews that you started implementing this year to focus on your critical standards. Again, we do this because no canned program is directly meeting the needs of the students that you have sitting in front of you. So we want to make sure that what we need to cover and what their needs are that we're doing through these activities. So that's phase 1 of getting to know your curriculum documents.